closer here and do exactly this. Urban Elite trying to hold it down. There's a flank coming in for PMPL Betis, and they have to be worried. The vehicle is claimed. They're going to hear that one out, but they're distracted from the push. In comes Juicy, holding down the off angle. Beautifully done there, but they are down to 2 now as one does get knocked, forced out into the blue. Unico Edu is going to get another knock at us. They're going to see Team Queso moving across now as they have to make that push. They get down one side of the hill, and Raven now has to take Raven control. Will the fight go the way of Team Queso? Raven there, up and over, will find one knock, but he gets traded. Pittsburgh Knights eliminated. Go back to Erangel, and, well, we're going to have a pretty stacked lobby this time around. Loops looking to finally claim a chicken dinner.
Yeah, you're looking at from there. Now, there is one team that I definitely want to talk a little bit more in depth about, and that's B4. I know that Des definitely mentioned them quite a bit there, but let's take a look at day 2. They have 3 15th place finishes, and I believe 1 16th place finish as well. Come to day 3, they finish 1st, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st again. And arguably, they could have taken that map on Vikendi versus Team Queso when they pulled that heel strat off. The strategy from Team Queso was just impeccable, though, knowing that they were the ones who had to be pushed, or they had to push, so instead they just sent one person all the way back to heal up, forcing B4 into a very awkward scenario. But here we are on Erangel. We'll see if, can B4 take a double Erangel win today? I'm not sure they can, but we'll see if they can pull out some miracles today.
Certainly going to be on the cards, and we'll have to wait and see what they have to show us. What are they going to be able to sneak out from up the sleeve? And we're going to see where they're dropping as well. The plane path going from Zaki all the way down to south of the military island, and everyone should be pretty much okay with this. No one really cut off here.
Yeah, most teams have their preferred spots coming through. Team Case obviously going to make their way down towards Primorsk, as we see the first circle pop on your screen almost straight away, which will favour Team Case, as they'll have the sea to the back of them here down in Primorsk side, so they'll be able to move north pretty unheeded there, so I feel pretty nice for them. Obviously you can see Mazexis still in the skies. The MTS just dropped down. Mazexis not having the greatest of first weeks here, getting shot down from the sky as well by PMPL Betis, as you see Nitsu take some great shots on Miramar from up on high yesterday. You know what, I think Cream is definitely a team that has a lot of potential here for me. I think they can do well, and they're starting to heat it up here in the tournament, but we'll see what they can pull out today, John.
They are on the eastern side, just in between Tribe and, as you said, Mazexis. I think there's another team as well hanging about. I think that's Ace, if I'm not mistaken, but they're going to be around, so they're currently looting up around that sort of area. But the next circle, meaning they're going to have to move west, and look who's back on the map. It's Tempo Storm, and they are going back to Pochinki. Now, this circle for them means that they have control over a lot of rotation paths, and if they're able to choose that wisely, they could quite happily pick up several frags.
You know what, though, John? I would suggest caution for Tempo. I think on the first day, what happened to them was that they took Pochinki, they had full control of it, but there was teams surrounding on them on all sides, and they took some aggressive rotations out, were easily and quickly picked off. Today, you have an option here. Obviously, you know that most of the teams on the eastern side of the map are going to try and work their way over to some compounds, because really there are limited compounds in this circle. The fields between Gatka and just north of Quarry are really not good for you. There's the swamp over there as well. It's not a great place to find yourself in, so you can tell the key compounds are going to be taken up early by anyone who rotates early. So if I'm Tempo, I'm thinking, you know what, get myself over to the western side of the map as fast as possible. We've got all Pochinki to ourselves. We know that absolutely no one came here early yesterday, so we can really loot up nice and fast, find a compound, and then just play in the circle, play for those points today.
Taking a look at the tables themselves, obviously it's a bit difficult to crunch it down when you've got teams playing 15 matches, some playing 10. So what I like to do is look at those per map averages, and when you take a look at that, well, there's Loops who come out as a clear favorite, currently sat on 15.4 average points per map,
which is huge, by the way.
That is absolutely huge. They're clearing the next highest team, which actually happens to be B4, who are again another 10-match team, sat on 12.6, and they are pretty much head and shoulders. XQ are going to be up there with them on 12.1, but really those three are the big hitters so far in the first 3 days.
Yeah, that's the real worry here for me in terms of B4 is they start towards Novo, so they have a nice aggressive start. They can have a lot of the loot, and then they have to make their way up through the bridges, which is currently being camped by Enshame, as well as Omen, who moved down from Milta, their usual starting zone. I mean, that's my worry with B4 at the moment, is that they had that incredibly vicious second day for themselves where they hit the top of the leaderboards pretty much every time, but they also had that really weak first day. On the other hand, Loops, they've had a general consistency through both the days that they've played, so, you know, that's what I want to see from B4 today. If they don't have an absolute stomper of a day and hit the top side, at least hit towards those mid-averages. Try and do a Loops and be really hateful towards double-digit finishes.
Speaking of hateful towards things, this is 3 people in a car rotating with Tribe, and if there's one thing I'm not a fan of, it's grouping up so heavily. They have got another player out in a different car, but look, as soon as Rain comes into the picture, they're just going to sideswipe. He gets 1, he gets 2, and now he has to take the fight with the last as well. Not quite able to do that, but they've lost so much power. Okay, don't know why Rain was there on his own. Interesting choice, but he's going to go down and try to get the reses.
Well, I mean, Tempo have to push this now. That's really the biggest option for them right now. They know 2 are down. They're getting picked up. You can at least get some control over the western side of the map. If not, you're going to have to push into them. Tribe know where Tempo is going to be coming from. It is Pochinki. So now Tempo are in a really tough spot because they haven't pushed this. Rain, obviously being their scouting member, moved out towards this field area. Was not expecting Tribe to fly through. And all props to him. Almost took out all 3 players in that vehicle. That could have gone very, very differently for Tempo indeed.
I don't know if I even spotted him with a vehicle. I mean, if you're playing as a scout, you want to get a bike or a buggy at least to be able to razz yourself around. So being caught just out in the open on foot,
he's fine.
yeah, being caught, you know, with the Swifties on his feet. I don't know, but it feels like that was a little bit of a misstep for Tempo coming back in.
Now you can see pretty much everyone clumping up towards the center of the circle at the moment. No one really wants to play around ruins, have to make that slog south side. You see Cream Real Betis coming through school. They're going to be heading towards Pochinki area, maybe rotating over the top side of there. Team Queso, they're not playing the usual on the edge right now because they were so firmly in the center towards Primos. They had a really, really easy opening and they took it quite quickly to take control of these really strong compounds which have multi-stories, so they're hard to breach.
Very hard to push on through. Very central positions being taken by a lot of these teams as well, which means they are going to be very, very close to one another, very proximate fighting going on. Loops down on the southwest side of this cluster. We've got XG down to their, XQ down to their southeast, and Pittsburgh Knights just up to their north. But they managed to control a really nice part of this hillside out to the west of Pochinki, and they're going to be pretty well covered.
This is not a bad spot for them. They have vehicles as well. So I would say good start. Dadin right now, all he's doing is just circling the top of the hill, making sure there's no one in this area. Go towards over X-Quest Gaming, another team that I'm a really big fan of at the moment. I think that yesterday it wasn't as great. We didn't see that prowess in terms of kills coming through for them. You see here, this is what I'm talking about. Kingy on 40% HP. Rain could have had a very different story there if he maybe had pulled out the Uzi just a little bit faster. But again, that's asking a lot of one guy to take down 3 players, especially from Tribe, who have already shown themselves to be one of the strongest fragging teams in this tournament.
They're going to have to take the L, though, and that's exactly why I don't like to see multiple players rotate in a car blank. I mean, you come into a situation like that, and it's very easy that half of you, well, 3/4 of your squad just gets wiped, and then what? Like, you're pretty much up the creek without a paddle.
Oh, yeah. And this actually makes things a little bit difficult for Tempo going forward because they were in such an aggressive position from Pochinki. But yeah, like you said, Tribe could have had a very, very different story ahead of them there because they were in one vehicle. I wonder if it's only because they knew they had to get into a good spot fast as possible with this circle, so they just took the risk. And you know what? You can kind of understand that in this situation. Pittsburgh Knights, very split. You've got a player Jagger off towards Swamp area. You've got Carnage on the right-hand side here and J7 in the middle. So they're occupying several compounds at once. Now, once this next circle pops, they will probably have to commit to one thing as all these other teams do make their way in. Obviously, there's still 16 teams available. So I think the intelligent choice here would be to commit to at least 2 compounds rather than 3.
Without Cloud9 in the lobby, no one else went South Georgia. Seems to be a running theme where some of these teams, they dip out in these big loot locations and nobody else goes there. They are just leaving it open. And with this circle shift, it means that no one's playing that northwestern side. So the first team to try and move there might just be in with a really strong spot. No one's on the top of Errors currently. No one near Hospital in South George. Pretty much unoccupied right now. Omen Elite, they managed to find one. I think they want more.
Yeah, and immediately they're making the move. This is a smart choice. Paris Boy's out of position. The rest of his team definitely cannot get in a good position to help him up. So they'll get at least a free kill here and also another vehicle for the Troubles. 2 vehicles, in fact.
Loop's making a rotation as well. They're near Cool 2. They'll spot one player for them, but they're really very split off from the rest of the squad. Yushé just trying to tag some shots, get some damage done, but Loop's already managed to find themselves into one of the farm compounds in Gatka.
Wildcard, however, the team that Jukes was touting on the desk here, they've got pretty much control over ruins and just the bottom side of Everest for the time being. No other team is up by that side either, so they've got a really strong spot in terms of intel, so they'll be able to find out exactly where most other teams are. It will depend where the next circle hits for them, though, because if it goes more towards the south, obviously they've got to come down from the mountain, and a lot of people will be watching over towards there to check if any of the teams are coming down. It's a pretty obvious spot, so Wildcard have a strong position right now. What they need to do is focus on that information game. If they can find out where people are, then they can decide where they want to make their rotates through once that circle does come. What does actually happen in terms of the southern one, but if it's a north one, they should be fine for the time being.
Oh, I think they spotted it. A lovely headshot landing there for Federal. He will be looking for another, a little bit more, but Cool 2 just hiding back in their building. They've been sent packing. I don't think they want too much more of this. It's the wrong end of the M24.
I mean, that's a helmet off, though, right? So already utility is a little bit lower on Cool 2. They'll have to invest some first aid kits. You can see here, Fran with only 2 and absolutely no stims. Cool 2 BGBG feeling a little bit worse for wear in terms of utility.
Now, they might try and take a fight later on and snag themselves a helmet replacement, but we'll have to wait and see. No one really clashing just yet, but we've dropped 4 players. That's 2 from Enchantment Gaming, 1 from Tempo Storm, and actually 1 from B4 as well, who are currently playing in Pochinki near Omen Elite.
They're just hanging around in this area, towards the fields on the north side, so... Sorry, they're not towards the fields at all. They're holding just outside of Pochinki right now, towards the hillside. Omen Elite just on the eastern side at the moment. Looking to make a push now.
Skirt around the top of Pochinki, and they are maybe leaving, but B4 are leading that one out and leaving first. Manage to send their scout over, and they'll follow it up in the very split rotation. That's what you want to do. Tribe, take notes. 3 players, 3 vehicles.
Yeah, they've had I mean, this team was gifted a lot of vehicles early from Enchantment Gaming, but in that same trend, Enchantment Gaming down 2 vehicles, and that's that southern shift that I was talking about earlier. This really affects them badly in terms of wildcard. Now they've got to come down, go past Enchantment Gaming, Loops, Lazarus, B4. So for wildcard, it's going to be a tough push, but they'll either have to wait a little bit or push now.
Loops are making an interesting rotation. They're actually heading up further north to get a different approach angle to the zone, going straight past Enchame. By the looks of it, it doesn't look like they're slowing down, and I don't think Enchame taking these shots. They are down to 2, remember. You can see both Paris Boy and Fuchs have already fallen. So they don't want to take the fight, and they're allowing Loops their path that they're wanting to go for. A lot of fields into this next circle, but it looks like Cool 2 Pittsburgh Knights going to clash atop the hill. First knock going over already. Remember, that's without the helmet as well, so there's so much more damage coming through. But the Pittsburgh Knights, they're getting third parties here. Tremcareta Furacao on the sidelines, further down the hill towards Pochinki Fields, are going to chime into the battle, and actually J7 goes down for it.
Yeah, Trumcareta Furacao actually waiting for a very, very long time here in the tree line, silent as they go. They were waiting for Pittsburgh Knights to do something, and that something was to take some shots onto Cold 2 and immediately chime in there. So Trumcareta Furacao currently the strongest party out of Cold 2 BG and also Pittsburgh Knights. The issue they're really waiting for is if Cold 2 BG actually hit onto one of the players from Trumcareta Furacao, because they are quite split up at the moment.
Sharma going to get eliminated there in the meantime. They do get caught out, and they're going to have no further say into the rest of this game. Unfortunate for them, this was a day that they did want to step up on, but they're not going to start out in the greatest way. Team Queso now in a battle with Loops, and these guys are the heaviest fraggers in the tournament when you break it down, but it's not going to phase Team Queso. They're still going to take the fight here. Federal going to try and face off. Ayala retreats upstairs to try and heal up just a little bit, and Federal is going to fall as well. Team Queso doing really well into this fight. They're claiming these kills, and Loops, they're falling apart at the seams.
Yeah, Team Queso had a fantastic time towards the beginning of this circle. They've been able to have the pick of the litter in terms of compounds as they just moved their way in, and that is just such good defense in terms of fortifications on that compound, and they send Loops absolutely packing. This compound's not as good in comparison. They're like, well, we can either have the really big mansion or we'll have the shack, and there's no in between. Our estate agent are terrible.
They're giving us terrible rates. The APR through the roof. It's just not okay. It's just not okay. And, well, they're going to have to try and pay that debt for the later rounds, later circles in. Next circle just about to pop, and we'll see where that shifts. It's heavily centered currently on those fields. So, hang on a minute. That's a heavy eastern shift, isn't it?
Yeah, hugely eastern shift there. Tempo, who were remaining just out of Pochinki, waiting for such a long time, have finally caught a break here with the 3 players still remaining. Got Omen Elite, though, throwing nades in towards Creme Real Betis. Let's see what Omen can do here. If they can take this compound, it's going to be largely easier to push towards the northern side. But right now, Creme Real Betis are right behind them, ready to backstab. So Omen do actually have to get rid of this one, but the blue will be pushing soon, already towards our later circles. So this one will start to hurt.
Omen skirting around these foothills and trying to find some ground. They haven't managed to get any nade damage coming through just yet, but he spots one out, not quite able to land the spray for Telly. As the nades do rain down towards their cover currently, the smokes have come out as well to quell that push. And it seems to be going well for now. Juicy all the way up and over in the wings, not quite with the rest of the squad. Maybe looking for those flanks and landing those shots, which might explain why Omen haven't gone aggressive here.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got the hillside, so they can peek up whenever, and the blue is going to push Creme Real Betis first, who's right. They've laid down all these smokes to really try and stop the advantage that Omen currently have, peeking over the lip of this hill. So Creme Real Betis can get a little bit closer here and do exactly this.
Omen Elite trying to hold it down. There's a flank coming in for Creme Real Betis, and they have to be worried. The vehicle is claimed. They're going to hear that one out, but they're distracted from the push. In comes Juicy, holding down the off angle. Beautifully done there, but they are down to 2 now as one does get knocked, forced out into the blue. Unico Edu is going to get another knock, and it's just down to Juicy. The spray is there, but he's ticking away. Has to get the bandage on, and Omen Elite. That was an unfortunate turn of events for them. They're down to 2, but plenty of damage done to Creme Real Betis for now.
A perfect smoke train coming out from Cream to deny that hillside advantage that they had. And now Omen, who were set up to win that fight very easily, are now really struggling with only Juicy feasibly left alive here, as everyone else will go down to the play zone. And now Omen, who were in a good spot to insert themselves towards the southern side of the circle, will now be only entering with just the 1 player, as Creme Betis, Italox just about makes his way into the circle, but he's pushing through the fields.
That leaves us with currently 3 solo players, I believe. We've got Loops, we've got Creme Real Betis, and we've got Omen Elite as well, down to 1. And with a field side finish, it might just play out well for them. You can snake around, you can try and remain undetected, so we'll see what they can do.
Currently it's Trem Coretta for a count towards the middle of the map right now. They have a lot of control, and on the northern side there's a huge amount of firefights coming through.
Goodness me, Ace 1 just raining down hell from below this time around onto Wildcard. They're throwing those nades uphill, and it looks like you've got B4 further up even still, and they're plinking away from a range, and Wildcard catching no breaks here.
Ace holding beside the vehicles. Wildcard, they're in a tricky spot. Lazarus, however, and Tri both set in a very good position to third-party these fights, and it would be probably the optimal thing to do here. It'd be very risky for Tribe to enter this one with Lazarus and Ace 1 towards the northern side, but what it would do would solidify their position with the circle. But now Tribe has a very different option. The circle is about to pop. See where it goes.
Anyway, that goes.
In fact, impacts hit across to the eastern side. So Tribe don't have to go for this fight anymore. They can take a very, very quick push towards the middle of this circle. Tempo are doing the same right now. There is one compound directly in the middle. Whoever lays claim to that will be under heavy fire. But if you can get there first, you'll be able to shoot back with relative safety.
And sorry there, Duke's wildcard got eliminated. No more for you, unfortunately. We'll see what they can do next time around. But for now, we're left with 14 teams left standing. As he said, the next circle heading north and east and moving away from the fields, which is probably a good thing for a lot of these teams.
You don't want to stick around there for too long. It causes a lot of havoc, and you're almost forced to use your vehicles, either fly past the fields themselves or just set up yourself with defilades. Now, Team Queso, they're making their rotation from the western side of the map here. You can see them moving around. Tribe, though, have actually decided to take this fight.
It seems like they're doing pretty well out of it. Lazarus lose one already, but hang on a minute, they're turning it around. Two players get knocked on a third, hits the knees as well for Tribe. And now Lazarus are starting to swarm. They're trying to pick up these kills. They will finish off Seagut, and I think, actually, Tribe are going to give up the ghost. They're going to leave Memo as a solo.
Tribe just leaving this one. They know they had a great day in terms of points yesterday and the day before, so as long as they can keep that consistency going, you do not want to go out in 14th. That will only afford you 1 point, which is really not good for the standings whatsoever. And Tribe, they haven't had many kills as of yet. Lazarus dropping down the smokes here, trying to make their way in. They can see that Ace1 are actually waiting and ready to receive them, but it's Dadden from behind.
That's the solo player for Loops. Trying to find something. Criminal Betters did get eliminated in the meantime, but so are Loops, and XQ are going to get eliminated as well. Heavy hitters fall in pretty quickly here as it's an unfortunate turn of events. 10 teams left, and in fact, that's the first time we've seen Loops go down lower than 9th. They go down, I believe, in 11th there. 9th place was their lowest finish so far, and that's not the way they want to start it off. And if they can't keep it consistent, well, we'll have to see what they are able to do in the remainder of today's match.
Yeah, not at all. That is really not good for you. 4 teams going out in a blink of an eye. Team Queso, on the other hand, they're all the way on the western side. They've now made it all the way to the east, just beside Mezexis and Tempo Storm. They have a really good spot here. Those extremely good rotations that we talk about this team and really praise them for, coming in huge. Marco, the scout here, doing so much for his team at the moment.
Tempo Storm down to 1 as well. A game of snakes right now for so many of these teams. A couple of them did get rounded up. The Mongooses, or the Mongeese, I suppose, were taking them down. Next circle comes in. It's a western shift.
Yeah, Team Queso moved all the way to the east after being on the west. Now they're going to have to move west again. So the circle kind of rubber banding backwards and forwards. Maxin drops out of the vehicle. Will be finally taken down by the rain of fire coming through from the DPs on Team Queso.
Now going to take that one down. 2 players standing for B4, but no one really there to go for that res. The rest of them still further out into the circle. As it stands, I think you're right there, Blank. Team Queso have a really strong spot.
Yeah, they're just moving in on the edge side. They can now gatekeep Mezexis and Pittsburgh Knights, so they have to walk up this big hill right in front of them. And Team Queso can play around all of this ground while still being in the circle. You'd imagine the circle will move at some point away from them, but for right now, they can actually get a very good spot going, try and take down some members, grab that intel going forward, and hopefully light some of these teams up.
Lazarus have managed to get a little bit of a foothold into the zone as well. Ace trying to move in, everyone sneaking their way through. There's a big valley in the middle of this area, which is going to be so difficult to cross depending on which way it goes. But Mezex has started to take a fight with Team Queso, and actually B4 taking a fight over on the northern side as well. Team Queso do take a knock, and I think that might have been a flush coming out. No, Mystic is still standing. However, there is a snake moving closer. Darius for Mezexis wants to find an angle, wants to find a sneaky head over the top. They are going to go for the flank. Ayala falls, and that is another knock going over towards Team Queso. They're trying to hold down the push against Mezexis as one more of them gets knocked as well. And here comes, hang on a minute, Tensa from the sidelines. He's chiming in, holding it down for Team Queso as they're down to just 1 left, and they're taking the fight over the lip of the hill. But Mezexis, one goes down, and that's another to fall. They're so low. 1 player left standing for both of these 2 teams as Tempo Storm get eliminated as well.
Yeah, Oh my lord, fifth teammate from Team Queso, Tensa, really does help out here. Marco has the potential to get up, but he's just going to go forward, try and provide some information. Axial now coming out, wants to flush at least a couple of players, will get MTS, will provide the information, and will try and revive Isla. So a really tricky spot here for Team Queso. They will have a little bit of time before Mezexis will start to make this push. But also on that note, the circle is about to move. Things are getting very hairy for a lot of these teams.
And it's Mezexis who have to move towards Team Queso, and they'll be aware of this. Playing as a duo, this is a fearsome fire pair to be getting on with, so we'll see what they are able to do. B4, still 3 players alive. So do Mezexis as well, currently looking in one of the stronger spots, but it's Tremcareta Furacao who are 4 players strong right now, Blank.
B4 here with 8 kills total and a potential to go out in 6th, but they can make it even further. So it feels like that first day they had, where they had a really, really bad day, was a little bit of a fluke from them. They're bringing it back in a big way on day 3 for them.
Tremcareta Furacao gets spotted out from the high ground, but the circle not in B4's favour. No one on that northern side, really, but Tremcareta Furacao going to get spotted out. And I think that was, hang on a minute, Lazarus just get lasered down. They are going to get eliminated. We're down to 5. The Pittsburgh Knights with a solo player. Queso still up the hill with 2. They are in the next circle.
Very limited of utility, so they'll be looking for some kills here just to try and restock, but it's 2v3. Raven and Tremcareta Furacao are still in this one. Team Queso, they will have the hillside to fight on. You see some nades coming up. B4 still going on this one now with a shot to Vitu.
Trades going back and forth on all of these teams as seems to be a full 5-way fight at this stage. Everybody has a sight line onto everybody. Emraz just gets rattled down from across the way. That's Tremcareta Furacao. Darius now trying to stay down low, but his teammate gets knocked. He's last standing, and Team Queso makes short work of Mezexis. They go out in 5th, so it's not the end of the world from them. They're going to rack up 11 points, which, quite frankly, that's the highest scoring game they've had so far in this tournament, Blank.
Yeah, I don't think the Team Queso could have played that any better. But I think Mezexis had huge tunnel vision throughout the entire fight. Team Queso know they need to stay lying in wait in these buildings, prevent other people from pushing them. Mezexis, they're just fully focused on Team Queso. I didn't even think about the other 5 teams that were in the match with them. But B4, they heard all this gunfire, and now it's time to take a fight as Team Queso. I don't even think that Queso had a chance to loot up there. So they're in a tricky spot right now.
They are in this circle, but the next one is probably going to be moving away from them, and it's going to pop in just a moment as we'll see where that one lands. Currently, every team has a little bit of an area to control, but it's really B4 who have the dominant position at this stage. Next circle comes in, and in fact, it's opposite from Team Queso. It is further down the hill, right in between Tremcareta Furacao and B4.
Yeah, B4 just held the line there. And they were given a little bit of gift in terms of the circle. Team Queso will have to leave, but with so much action going up on their side, pretty much everyone's watching up there for their own case of entertainment. Raven has done really good to get this far in the game for Pittsburgh Knights. Currently in 4th place if he goes out now, but you imagine he wants to stay in this for a little bit longer. Has a good little bit of a loot crate there, but Matos right next to him. I think Raven's days are numbered.
If B4 peek over this lip, they do just spot out Matos. And they see that body lying there. They'll pick up that point, no trouble, but where are they most worried about? I think they're going to see Team Queso moving across now as they have to make that push. They get down one side of the hill, and Raven now has to take control. Will the fight go the way of Team Queso? Raven there, up and over, will find one knock, but he gets traded. Pittsburgh Knights eliminated, and a knock goes over onto Tremcareta Furacao as B4 start to chime into the fight. This might give Team Queso an opening to come on through. 3 players left standing, and that's Tremcareta Furacao taken down and out, and Team Queso now battling it out with B4. With the top dogs to see who is going to come out on top this time around. Ayala hits the deck, not knocked just yet, but it will be not long for them. B4 claim that chicken dinner
to the rest of the day's matches for sure. The first team to get 3 chicken dinners under their belly, it's B4. So 3 chicken dinners, 11 games played, and still you see that B4 and Loops are still quite close to each